Hey, Sunshines.
Hey, Sunshines, and welcome to MPowered.
We have Brittany Caldwell on today's episode, and honestly, I'm really excited for you all to get to hear her talk. She's truly authentic, and that is my favorite part about her, so be sure to listen in, and Mandy's going to give you some more information about her, too.
Yeah, so Brittany is the founder of Go Brazy Energy. If you're local here in Charlotte, you have likely heard of it. She is booming and growing very quickly. She's also a professional dancer, which is incredible, a choreographer, a mobility and performance specialist for athletes, and she is also a cycling instructor. So another guest who quite literally does it all. So we're going to hear a little bit about how she managed to do all of that and how she manages all of that. She is originally from the small town of Hartsville, South Carolina, and received her undergrad degree in chemical engineering. So a really cool background. And then has her master's in exercise science. So a woman in STEM with a really incredible company and an equally as incredible journey.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
Excited for you guys to hear a little bit more from her.
Absolutely. And she also talks about facing challenges too within her childhood, actually losing someone that was extremely important to her life, and how that kind of shaped and kind of drove a lot of her motivation. So that was also really special to me. But like we said, we're very excited for you all to get to hear from her, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
So we are so excited to be here with Brittany today. So freaking excited. Brittany is, as we've mentioned, incredible, doing a little bit of everything. And we're so excited to kind of understand a little bit more about that and see what she's got going on. So tell us a little bit about, how did you get to Brittany that you are today, right? Give us your elevator pitch, your bio, your background. Tell us a little more.
I'd say that I became me today because of all the things that happened to me over the course of my life. I think there's no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as tragedies that don't have purpose. I think everything that I've been through in my life has made me who I am, made me resilient the way I am. And that's kind of the backstory of how I got there. And then I'd say that, small town girl from Hartsville, South Carolina with big dreams. I wanted to dance professionally. I made that goal happen. And then I decided to quit the corporate hustle and study my actual things that I enjoyed. And then I started working for myself, becoming an entrepreneur as a dance teacher, choreographer, performance specialist, all the things. And then I decided one day I wanted a product to bring to the market that everyone would be excited about, that wasn't something anyone was afraid to drink. And that's where the birth of Go Brazy came from.
I love that. And also, too, so I was talking to Mandy earlier, and I thought it was funny because obviously we're both named Brittany, and we spell it the correct way. Let me just throw that out there.
That part.
And exactly. And so I, of course, know where Hartsville is. My family actually grew up, and they're from Ruby, South Carolina, which is near Sherrall and Chesterfield. And so I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with that, but nobody else knows. And so when I heard that you were from Hartsville, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, absolutely, this is the person that we need to talk to. I was like, I need a small town girl.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have family in Chesterfield and Sherrall.
There you go. Look at that. Look at
Kershaw, McAfee, all those places.
Come on, Kershaw. God bless.
Those are my people. Any Caldwells down there, those are my people.
But that's good. So one, let our audience know. So what is your brand? It's energy drinks. And you said, and I really appreciate that you said that no one is scared to drink, because Lord knows energy drinks can be sometimes a little scary. So go into your brand and how you identified okay, this is going to be good for people and people are going to want to drink it.
Yeah, so I am always on the go, and my constant statement is I'm always caffeinated, never hydrated. And I used to drink different energy brands over the time because I was I wanted to help myself get through the day, whether that was going to teach cycling at 6 o'clock in the morning or going to rehearsal at 7 o'clock at night, staying there till sometimes 11. And over the course of that day with my regular work stuff or being in the dance studio, working with athletes, I would be so drained that I would go to the quickest thing I could get to. And there was a brand that I used to drink very regularly that was known as one of the most natural brands on the market. And so I got locked in. I was like, yep, this is my secret sauce. I didn't like the pre-workout scoops. Like, that's just not on brand for me. I like the grab and go, pop it open, call it a day. However, over the course of time, money gets involved with things, and there's no fault on either side of this. However, I recognize when someone comes to you with a large lump sum of money and says, hey, we want to take your brand under our wing, you don't have as much control over the things that can change at that point.
Right.
And so this beverage that I used to love went from being a natural beverage that was naturally caffeinated to naturally caffeinated plus additional caffeine and a lot of other things that I just never needed, but I just drank it because it was the most natural version that tasted good. So I, working with athletes too, so I had a baseball player at the time, and he said to me straight up that he couldn't drink that same brand of beverage because of different things like NSF approval, the quality of the ingredients. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then I started talking to a bunch of different people about it, and I know myself, I'm like, okay, well, what if we could bring something to the market that, because I'm going to pick on him and he's going to know exactly who I'm talking about. Hydration was another key that he was not ever getting, including myself. So we had that in common. Caffeinated, but always never hydrated. Like, it was not a good thing. And so with that being said, I started talking about this brand and how I wanted it to be an energy drink that was something that people were comfortable drinking. So when I went to like when you go to Starbucks, the kids buy these Starbucks drinks with caffeine in them and no one's scared. But if you give a kid an energy drink, everybody's like, oh my God. And I'm like, I don't blame them. However, coffee is a more natural thing, and that's our caffeine substance in this beverage. So when you go to a baseball player and they're having their pregame, usually they can drink coffee before pregame, but they can't have additional things included in it because that it starts to qualify as a PED when you combine certain ingredients. So little things like that went behind the whole natural premise of building the brand. And then I wanted to have the hydration aspect to it because, like baseball players who are outside in the heat, and then myself as someone who's always on go and I don't want to carry 12 different beverages, it's like, let's add this electrolyte element and then the BCAAs that's actually a recovery element too. So I wanted to strip the label so that if you read this can, you're like, okay, I know these things. And there, yeah, there's a couple preservatives in. There's actually 3. 2 of them are just for shelf life as we're getting ourselves into the market and testing everything with viability. One of them is a flavor. Citric acid is something that most people use for flavor. So people say what they want to say about this and that, and it is what it is. However, over time, the goal of the brand is to remove all the preservatives unless they're like a flavor added, like citric acid, because we want people to look at it and be like, you know what, I feel comfortable drinking what's in this can. I feel okay with all these ingredients. I know them. I recognize them. I'm not scared. I'm like, if you drink coffee and it doesn't give you jitters, your energy drink shouldn't give you jitters either. And that's where we want Go Brazy to always sit.
Wow. Love that. That's awesome. And I love that you broke it down. Thank you for that. So now I'm curious, like, what flavors do you currently have right now?
So we have one flavor, and it's sweet and sour watermelon.
Oh.
And our flavor profile is along the lines of one of everybody's favorite candies. I can't disclose it to you on here, but I'd say it's a millennial candy favorite. It's a gummy candy, and if you can figure it out when you try, you'll have to let me know. But yeah, it's a sweet and sour watermelon. And we're working on our second flavor, and I also can't disclose that flavor yet. But I'm really excited. We started May 1st. You know, trade secrets. You gotta, once I can't let it go until we get the packaging and everything situated, because that's when everything is signed, sold, and delivered. We're still ironing out the kinks. Like we go to finish the formula or do and finish the formula the beginning of May. And once that's complete, we'll take it to our manufacturers. They're ready for us, but that's a matter of like getting all of our ingredients and stuff. And then we have a really big event in June with one of our biggest partners where we're going to release our first flavor. And I don't know if everybody knows that yet, but there you go.
Well, they know now. That's great. Well, I want to kind of jump back to at the very beginning, you talked about like everything that you've went through in your life has led you to where you are today. And so we're really big on like, you know, 1, empowering women, but also 2, like going down those cycles of like, okay, how did I get here? What led me here? And even like pinpointing those things. So throughout your life, did you ever realize or like say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur? Like I'm going to create a business. Like where was that mark? Like what was it for you?
Um, it's interesting. I actually was talking about this a couple days ago. I was probably like 6 or 7 years old when I was like, you know what? I want to own a business. I didn't know what it was. That was when I was like taking Bath and Body Works lotions and mixing them together to make one smell different than what was on the shelves. Like that was me.
Honestly,
I loved
same.
chemistry.
What?
Yeah, like I don't know
This
who
is
I was.
amazing.
You've never done that before? Like Bath and Body Works, like putting me and my best friend, actually, Amber, we would put like the lotion on first and then put the oil and then the spray, like the body spray on the lotion. It was ridiculous. Clearly it's a Brittany thing. Like,
It was a whole
it's clearly a
concoction.
Brittany thing. You guys
Like,
are playing chemist in the bathroom.
so I literally thought, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make my own lotions or something. I had no idea what was gonna be the end all be all of a business for me, but I was like, yeah, this is so cool. Like I'm, mixing these lotions, they smell great, and you should have this one today, or you should try that one tomorrow. Like forever. And then like my parents also, so my dad worked in a manufacturing facility. He was a supervisor there, and my mom was a school principal with her doctorate. And together they had a life insurance business. So they were entrepreneurs too. So I got to see that side of them too. Like I will never forget, I was like 5 years old and they let me give a speech. I can't tell you what I said. I just know I stood in front of people and I talked about a chart. Can't even tell you what was on it. But that was always something that was kind of like in the blood of my family. It's just like being able to kind of like live life on your own terms and enjoy the life you live. And so like my mom being an educator, we had our summers free-ish because she had to do certain things in the school, right? So getting ready for different school systems. But for the most part, my dad and her were able to like bring us all together and like we do like take the fun week vacations and do things like that. So seeing them hustle and do all of that to put my brothers and I in the situation we were in was always amazing. And then not to be sappy, but we lost my mom when I was 8 years old. And a lot of what I learned about life and like where I wanted to take myself in life came from some of the stories that people who knew her told me. She wasn't the one to just be like, guess what I did today? And I'm like, what did you do? Because, when you're a child, you don't really care to listen. And I'm like, there's no doubt in my mind that she could have told me all the things that she was doing with her life, not have been like, yeah, cool. But hearing them from other people who appreciated her and like what she did for their families or for them themselves, like learning those stories really helped mold me into the kind of person I am. And so I'm very purpose driven. It's not about me. It's all about we. Like even building the brand is all on we. Like I want to build people. Like people think that as a female and founder of a company that I want to be the CEO. I'm like, no, someone wants this job that is going to do a really great job at it. They just aren't in this position to have it right now, or they're not paid as well as they could be. And I'm like, I want to be the person to provide that for someone one day so that I can say, I hope you are enjoying your life because you belong here. You're able to do this because I'm like, it'd be selfish of me to be like, yep, I'm the founder and the CEO and I know everything, because I don't. I'm sitting here
Right,
building my
right.
resume because I'm learning so much about an industry that I don't know. And so it'd be selling the brand short to not have someone in the position that does know more than me. And so with that being said, it would open up a lot more windows of opportunity for people to come into the company and grow and build. And it's like we rise by lifting others. But these are all things that like I learned from the way my mom managed her life when she was a school principal, the way she elevated other educators in the community and did things all around that didn't just have to do with teaching children. And so like I think that all of those things add up to who I am. And then obviously my dad is just like, I don't know, he's my rock. Like that's my right hand man. And the way he has always uplifted me, like I tell him I'm quitting my corporate job and he's like, all right. Most parents are like, what do you mean you're quitting your, nah, Willie was
Yeah,
like,
they
yeah,
Right.
all right,
suddenly
what's
kind
next?
of.
I said,
Wow.
and mind you, I called him the next day crying. I'm like, oh my God, like, what did I just do? I live in this apartment uptown, just got a new car like 2 months before that. And I was like, Daddy, what do I do? And he's like, you're good. You're going to be fine. And so then like things start to fall into place and little things start to happen. And I'm just like, okay, like I'm good. And so instead of my dad panicking for me, like most parents want to do and protect their children, he's like, nah, you got it. We got you. Like if you need to come home for a couple years, you can. I haven't had to yet, so that's been great. But for the most part,
Amen.
that to me, like my upbringing is kind of like how I got here because a lot of the things that have been behind the building of this brand, it's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but the people around me and the people that I know support it make it so worth it.
That's so good.
Wow.
And I love hearing that your dad is your rock, because that holds such a special place in my heart. I lost my father when I was 5 years old. So therefore my
Oh,
mom
wow.
is my person. But anytime that I ever see like a daddy-daughter duo, I become a puddle. So hearing that and knowing that,
Oh,
you have his support, it means more to me than you know. And your dad's doing great. Your dad's doing great. But I wanted to ask you, as far as, so Mandy and I, we're both in corporate, and we understand, like, when parents look at you and you're having these conversations of like, yeah, I'm going to step away from corporate. It's like, no, what are you doing? Why? And you had that support, but how did you make that decision? And what would you encourage people to kind of like shoot for the stars who do actually want to get out and go on their own?
I would say it's not easy. And I worked in digital marketing and high risk, high reward. So I made a lot of money fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the path to get there. So I had a tech sales job. It wasn't for me. So I left and went into digital marketing. I'm in digital marketing. I'm like, I love this. I love like website design, doing things to help, again, helping businesses do better for themselves. And then I kept finding myself in situations where I felt like I was screaming in a dark room and no one was trying to hear me in the company that I worked for. I was a sales rep and my job was just to sell. However, me as a person, that's not enough for me. Like, I want the relationship. I want to make sure my clients are taken care of. I wanted to do all the things. And I will never forget sitting in one of my manager's office and he says, "You're just a rep. Let the account manager do their job." And I said, "They're not doing their job. That's why I'm here." And like to the point where like I was taking product photos for some of my clients and they wouldn't let me upload them to the website because that was the account manager's job. But I'm just like, here's this client calling me because the account
Mm-hmm.
manager isn't doing what they're supposed to do or answering the phone. And I'm the only face they actually know. And so that was one of those pivotal moments in my corporate life where I was like, all right, what are we really working for here? Because yes, getting the, residuals from this client's account was great. However, that wasn't enough for me because I wanted to see this client happy. I wanted to see the return on his investment. And so I had sat in my manager's office and we actually worked out a little plan. And he was like, all right, this is what's going to keep you in this company because you're doing a great job. I was a third high sales rep nationwide. Like I was doing great work. And we sat there and he's like, trying to keep me there. And I'm like, I hear you, but I don't know. And so then I leave my office and I get an email from the CEO of our corporation. And in this email, he says something along the lines of, "Success is when you're able to really do for others like you want to." It's something along those lines. I can't remember the quote exactly, but I was like, wait a minute, are you
Is he
talking to me?
listening? Is he
Like,
watching me? Like, how did he know?
yeah. So I was like, wait a minute. And so that was kind of one of those little aha moments. So immediately I was like, all right, what's the plan? And so I told myself once I had 3 months of my savings, like 3 months of bills, miscellaneous money, all of that saved up, I was going to make a jump. I had no idea what this jump was going to be because my entire life I grew up and everybody was like, you know what? Like I studied chemical engineering when I was in college because everyone said, you're smart, you like science. I liked math. I like science and math. You can get a great high paying job, especially as a Black woman in engineering, like go do the thing. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, yeah, engineering it is. Hated my life. Miserable. Shout out to my professors for putting up with me though, because y'all are real ones. Because I don't know how I graduated as an engineer and like stayed in that major without y'all, like big time.
That's a killer major.
So
Yeah, that's huge. That's not just some minuscule major.
it's a talking point at this point in my life. I did keep my scholarship, so I had good grades, but it was challenging.
There you go.
But anyway, so I managed to kind of put myself in a situation where I was like, all right, once I have this 3 months saved up, I'm gonna dip. I look at my bank account like maybe like 2 weeks later. I'm like, wait a minute, because one of those like random like bonus checks had kicked in, and I was like, that's 8. I'm out. I gotta go. And I literally walked to my boss's office and I submitted my resignation letter, and he was like, let's talk. And I go in there, and the sales role, they don't give you 2 weeks. You just did. Like, you
Right. Yep.
submit that resignation, and the next day you got to get your stuff out the desk. And so I did that, with no idea what was coming next. And so I don't advise not knowing what's coming next. If I'm anyone else, I'm gonna situate yourself. But like this whole time, like I kept teaching dance, and that was one thing. Like I'd take off work to go teach master classes because that's how much I love dance. I was told my whole life I couldn't necessarily make a living as a dancer, but like, hey, in South Carolina, not even like on tour or anything, we're here.
Yep. Living
And
proof.
so yeah, like I said, I called my dad the next day crying my eyeballs out because I was just scared. And then after that, like some of the relationships that I had built through the last like 10 to 15 years, I'm talking from childhood up, being on the competition stage, they started to click. One at a time, they started to click. So then I'm like working at one of the studios, a local studio. I got a job at one of my teammates' stores. I was working at like a jean store. And then I was like, I'll go work at a fitness store or like a sports performance wear store, all the things. But for the most part, I was like, I'm willing to do anything to get me out of this position without watching my account bleed $1 at a time. And so that was a matter of me just doing a bunch of like little things. As I was doing what I called the passion chase, I called it the pursuit of the passion. And I just turned 24. And I was like, I don't know what I need to do, but I think I'm going to go back to school. And so that's when I went back to school. And that gave me a little more time. So I got my master's in exercise science and all the things that I was like really interested in, which is like the body and movement and all those things. And as I was in school, I started realizing like where I really wanted to take my career and all the service that I wanted to do for like digital marketing clients. I was like, I want to serve people. Like that is what I want to do. Some people tell me today, like, you do so many things. I'm like, I do one thing several different ways, and my job is to serve people. If you're an athlete and you want to get better, I serve you by helping you with your mobility, your performance work. Dancers who want to learn something new, that's my service to you. People who show up to my cycling class and they just want to let a load off of the day or kick their day off the right way, that's my service to you. So like essentially that's what I do. And even building the company of Go Brazy, like my goal is that every employee feels like they are served by the company in some regard, some way, shape, or form. But all that to round this out to say, go for it. That's all I could say for anyone that's like interested in like taking a leap of faith. Like take the leap of faith. And sometimes you don't realize what doors are waiting for you to even try to show up to open them until you make that jump. And that's what happened for me because like I said, I quit my job with nothing on the table. Like no idea. I think I bought like I wanted to be a wealth manager or an agent for NFL players at one point in time. So I bought like a little book just to like read and learn about that life. I don't do that today. And now that I've been in the side of working with athletes that I'm on, I'm like, I like working with athletes, not working for them in that regard. Like it's a different kind of beast. But essentially like, had I not quit my job and taken the time to like really sit in what I love to do, like, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. I don't think I would believe in what I'm even doing today. Like 10 years ago, I love when people talk about 5-year plans. I'm like, that's cute. That's real cute. However,
Yeah.
5 years ago, if you would have told me that I'd be sitting right here doing exactly what I do today and making a comfortable living, I don't think I would have known that because 24, 25-year-old me had no idea what was possible. Because honestly, I was scared. I was terrified and I didn't want to go too far off the beaten path because no one had done it yet. And being a female in the sports world, especially 5 years ago, who are you and why are you here is the common
How did
thing.
you
And
get in
shout outs
here?
to you. Right, like who opened this door for you? But I'm very fortunate. Again, this is where like, some of the men in my life have been like very pivotal for my career and some of the things and places that they've taken me. But again, being able to lean on them has been like the number one thing, like leaning on my dad, him not having a panic when I could have panicked was probably the best thing. Cause had he like done the little freak out that most parents do, I probably would have I would have knee jerked and gone back into sales. And I think, a very close person to me, she was like, you want to work at this company that a bunch of people that work at? And I was like, no. And it scared me.
I'll pass.
Was wondering if I was making the right decision every time I turned down this opportunity. But now, like, I guess this is what, 8 years later, I'm like, thank you to me to like taking that leap of faith, and then also like thankful to God for like giving me like the vision to just try different things and really find where my heart lied. But I don't know, like, I guess that answers the question of
At
what to say.
100%.
That
No,
was beautiful.
you do a great job.
Yeah.
An absolutely great job. I think it's being able to highlight that, like, okay, yeah, it is hard, and it's going to be hard. It's not going to be, this path that's super simple, sunshine and roses, and you're going to have everything figured out. But I think there's beauty in that. And like you said, you don't realize the doors that are waiting to open for when you do take that leap of faith. And I think we've both been in situations where, like, oh God, we're like kind of like timid to it. We're like, I don't know. I mean, we created a whole entire, like, Mandy came up with this brand. We created a podcast. We're like, oh my God, are people going to listen? And then all of a sudden we're like booked out with guests, and we're like, you just have to do it. Like, you just have to do it.
Yeah. I think we both relate from a small town. So I also grew up in like a tiny town way up north, but very similar of like, everything is so small. Everybody knows everybody's business. Not a lot of people leave. Not a lot of people dream big, go out, get out. I would love to hear your advice for if there's a young girl in the middle of nowhere, South Carolina, or even like a woman who's like, I've lived in this small town forever. I want something more. What would you say to her, and what kind of advice would you have for her, and what would you tell her to do?
I would say go visit new places, visit several of them, and figure out where your aura feels right. Because I think some people move to the big city, or they move to the place where they think that people think that they should be, without knowing where they're supposed to be. I think small town girl me, because the dancer in me wanted to go to somewhere like a New York City or an LA, when realistically Charlotte has loved me so much as a dancer, and I have done so well here in that market where most people don't think. But I visited Charlotte several times when I was in college, and then I had gotten my first job here out of college, and so I said, I can be here. And now, even in the position where I'm at right now, it's like I'm already looking at another city where there's opportunities for me as a dancer there too, where it's like going to visit is what showed me that. And so if you're someone that's like looking for opportunities to expand your wings or spread your wings from a small town like us, go see things. Just go vacation for like 2-3 days, and then go back, see something different while you're there. So like, I joke all the time that Nashville is one of those cities that like I love. Like, I didn't know that I could love Nashville as much as I do. But I went the first time and I saw the sports side of Nashville. So that's when I was like working with athletes and stuff. And then I went the second time and I saw tourist Nashville, and I was like, all right, this is kind of a lot for me. I'm a homebody. And then the third time I went, I saw dance Nashville, and I'm like, wait a minute. The eclecticness of this place is amazing. And so like, had I not gone to explore it, to see it, to catch different vibes of being there, I wouldn't know that. And so that's the one piece of advice I would give, is like, just go try new cities, go see new things.
You have me wanting to go to Nashville, because I've actually never, ever been to Nashville.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been to Nashville, and I want to go so
Sounds like we're taking a trip.
Yes. Okay, we're going to take a trip. We're going to take a trip.
Have our next live event in Nashville, and it's going to be a Go Brazy MPowered event.
No, I've always wanted to go, because I've heard it's like that. Like, there's downsides of it, as in like there's calm. There's also too, like, there's a place for every single person within Nashville. And I just love that. And I did the same thing with Charlotte. Like, now granted, I didn't grow up in Ruby and Chirral, but like I was there every summer, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of that. But I grew up in Columbia, and I would come and visit Charlotte, and I'm like, I would tell my mom all the time, I'm like, I want to move to Charlotte. I want to move to Charlotte. I want to move to Charlotte. And then finally I quit my teaching job, had no job lined up, had nothing lined up. I had no idea what I was doing when I got to Charlotte. I was like, I'm just going to go. And she was like, Brittany, are you sure? And I was like, I will figure it out. I was like, you taught me how to figure everything out. No matter if we had a penny or a window to throw the penny out of, like, we're going to figure it out. And that's exactly what I did.
Period.
So, yep. You just gotta go. You just gotta do it, and everything else will fall into place.
Yeah. I think you have
Oh
a
yeah.
really unique experience being a dancer, and being able to capitalize on, like you said, like everybody told me I could not make a profession of being a dancer, right? Like I couldn't do this and make a living and support myself. So you are a dancer for the honeybees, which is amazing, incredible, like insane. And then you also teach dance. Um, I'm curious to know, like, we see the honeybees, right? Like, you see these women, you're like, oh my gosh, how do you do it? It looks so demanding. How do you do that, manage that, and then also do everything else? You're like, you're literally, you are doing it all. I know you were like, yeah, I'm doing it all for everybody, but like, you're doing it all for everybody. How are you doing that while being a professional dancer? That's a lot.
I think it goes back to that always caffeinated, never hydrated point.
I was gonna say this is a plug for Go Brazy for sure.
Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm a walking billboard for my brand because that is literally my life. I'm on go all the time. And it it is a very strenuous schedule. Um, and I wouldn't even say I do it very well. I just do it with a smile sometimes because it is so tiring. It can get very draining. But I think the blessing in it all is that I genuinely enjoy every time I walk into the building, every opportunity I get to perform. All of those things make it so worth it that, like, even on days when I'm really tired, like even teaching spin, like I love teaching spin too. So like when I walk into the Fierce studio, I'm like, I'm tired today, but let's turn up. And by the time the class is over, I'm like, all right, I'm awake. And like I'll go to rehearsal at 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, I'm exhausted. I'll drink a brazy. Like, well, there's like all of us like drink brazies going into rehearsal at 7 o'clock at night. If you don't sleep on caffeine, don't drink a brazy at 7 o'clock at night, but we do it. And I'm literally like, by the time I get to the end of practice, I'm like, yes, this feels good. I'm feeling refreshed, or like the end of a game. So like, I would say that again, it's like the time commitment for it all is a lot. Um, but I'm very blessed to work for myself and be able to kind of like pinpoint where I spend my time. So like once a week I drive and run a program in South Carolina for a dance studio. And then like I get to spend the night with my dad, and then I come back the next morning.
I love that.
And then I'm in a different studio for the next 3 days before I have rehearsals. And then we have our games here and there. So like it's a lot of I wouldn't even call it time management because sometimes I think I suck at that too. I would call it just like time situating.
Yeah,
I can time situate really
situating. I
well.
love that. That's going to be my new phrase.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of time situating here. I like that.
I think, and honestly, so I've always been able to relate to people who like that situation where it's like just constantly having something. I've always identified myself as like a hamster on a wheel. Like I'm just constantly moving. Like, and I've also said that like I kind of run on a motor. Like I sleep when I sleep. Now, granted, I value my sleep because it doesn't come very often. And like this morning, I was telling Mandy, she called me while I was at work, and I'm going to be honest with you, I had a full meltdown. She was like, "Friend, what's the matter?" I was like, "I just want sleep. Like, I just want to go to sleep." I was like, "I feel like a little baby who misses nap time, and like I am just deprived."
Yep.
But the thing is,
Oh
it's like
yeah.
I love because I drove in from Columbia this morning because I had a client yesterday for hair and makeup. But it's like, yes, I want sleep, but I just enjoy so much of being on the go,
What you do.
constantly having something because you feel like you're serving people, you're filling your cup up. Yeah, it might get empty a little bit
Absolutely.
because of, needing some sleep, but also too, that's why we have caffeine.
Exactly. That's why you just go brazy and call it a day.
See, there you go.
We're going to do
We found our solution.
I'm not
worry
even.
about it
I've literally like rethought my values on success. Like I think every now and then I think I reevaluate what success means to me.
anymore.
And literally recently, probably in the last 2 months, I've adjusted success from being like, a place in life to the ability to control my time and where I spend it. Because as of right now, like that's the thing about entrepreneurship where like, you kind of have to be everywhere in the beginning phases to build your brand, to build your business, to do the things. But eventually you want to get to that point where you can control where you are so that you can sleep, where you can say no to this thing. And like, that's kind of where I'm like, all right, My definition of success needs to make an adjustment so that I can better value my time so that I can get the sleep, because I also have entered the phase of life where like I wake up in a panic because I've slept. That's fun because it's like 4:30 on a Monday, and then a Tuesday, and then a Friday, and then a Saturday. I'm like, it's Saturday. Where could you need to go at 4:30 in the morning?
What are you doing at 4:30 in the morning? Your poor body
Absolutely
is like, it's
nothing.
time to be up. We have got to get going. You are missing it.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. And it's like, and I'm talking like the jolting, like wake up, look at my time.
Yeah, like
I'm
you
like,
freak out.
Yeah, like I've overslept.
Yes.
I'm missing all of the
panic.
things.
Yes.
Get out of bed. Oh.
See, and that's how, like, Mandy, she is my person who's like, you need to take a second. You need to slow it down. You need to rest. You need to get off your phone. Don't look at
so good to
emails,
have.
all of that. I know, like a blessing. I'm telling you, a God sent blessing.
It's from burnout. Just to be clear, it's only because I have like totally like
I've experienced it.
Yeah, I'm like, I have been on the other side of like, okay, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't taking care of myself, and like I hit this like crazy burnout when I was 25. I was 25 years old and I was burnt out, and I was like, I can't get out of bed. I was like, I can't do this, and I'm like, it's crazy, and it's all from lack of sleep, not taking care of myself, like checking emails all the time, not giving myself to prioritize myself. So I like watch it in you. I'm like, okay, I gotta
don't do what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm like, quit it, Brittany, quit it. But I feel the same way.
Though.
And it's,
I love
like
that.
I said, she's a blessing, and it does help, honestly, because I'm like, what would Mandy do? Like, she would tell me to like calm it down, take a step back.
Listen, I need Mandy on my side too. Mandy, talk to me.
I'm gonna start sending you voice memos.
The brain could use some help.
Hey, Brittany, and I can send it to both of you.
You can send it to the both of us.
I'm gonna have a Brittany chat, and it's gonna be like, hey, Brittany, it's 9 p.m. You should be off of your phone.
The fireworks.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I couldn't even say how that happened. But yes, I'm here for the Brittany chats. I would love it.
Yeah. I think it's like, I don't know. I know I do better when I'm like in a routine, making the time for myself. Like I'm also a hamster on the wheel. Like I have so much on my plate and I love it and I thrive off of it. But then I'm like, if I have nothing left in my cup, I have nothing left to pour for anybody else. And it's like, I feel so good if I go to bed at 9 p.m., I read, I shut off, and I let my brain decompress. Like the next day, I am on it. Like you cannot stop me. I am unstoppable. I will conquer the world. It's amazing. I'm telling you, like I love to like in an ideal world, my phone is on my bedside table at 7 p.m. and I am in my bed with a book.
It's our jaws dropping on that one.
That is like literally. I love to not
teach me how to do this.
7. Do not disturb, and then you journal, you read, you sleep like a baby.
But how do you not have, like, let's get into this. How do you not have, like, anxiety being like, oh my God.
Like something being missed.
So it's journaling. I journal down, like, okay, if there's something being missed, I'm not going to, like, is it going to kill me to miss it right now? Like, if I don't do it right now, is my whole world going to implode? Probably not, because I would have already done it by now. If that was the case, I would have already taken care of it. And then if there's something like running through my mind,
take notes right now.
I'll journal it, like put it out. And it's like, everything can wait until tomorrow. And it's a muscle. It's like the more you practice that and fight that anxiety of like, oh, there's more.
The better you get at it.
The better. It's such a muscle. It's like, it's there tomorrow. It's not going anywhere. That long list is not going anywhere.
Your composure is just like ridiculous.
Yeah. The number of times I've cried because I'm just like, there's so much to do and I'm the only one that can do it. Like, I can't tell you how many times that fact in my brain has brought me to tears. And it's just like, I'm like, oh, you ask for help. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to ask for help because right now I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah. I think we're finding like, we're new in this like entrepreneurial journey, right? Like this is so new. And I think we're learning like the more we like say like, hey, we don't know how to do this or hey, we need help with this. Like the community in Charlotte of women who want to like help you and see you succeed is like, I was a little shocked at first and was like, hold on, like this is for real. You guys are all serious. You really do want to help and like show me like what I'm missing here. And like, it is insane.
How do you ask?
I just say, I really suck at this. I'm not good at this. Do you know anybody who might be?
Right.
We talked to Meredith Dean, right? And we literally
Love
we
her.
chatted with her and we're like, Meredith, we don't know how to manage our social media. We don't know how to do this. We don't know how to build a brand. And she was like, hey, I got you. That's my skill set.
I got it.
Like, if it's not mine, I'll connect you with somebody who is. It's just vocalizing, I think, and being real and having those genuine conversations to be like, hey, I am struggling. Getting on these chats and being like, hey, I'm struggling. And people are, I think if you vocalize it, people, if they can help, really do want to help. But they don't know what you don't. And I imagine you, like us, are type A, keep it together. You're not going to know that the struggle is happening because I'm cool, calm, collected. It's fine. But it's
crumbling inside, but I'm good.
Correct. But crumble outside. I'm crumble outside so people can help you put it back together. They don't know what they don't know.
I need to.
You don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
Our TED Talk here.
Yeah, sorry. Real passion.
I know. I feel like I should have had a notebook to take notes on this because I'm like, phone on the table by 7 p.m., journal, sleep by 9, baby sleep. I need that.
Especially if you're waking up at 4:30 a.m. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to go to bed.
Yeah. Ooh, do you take magnesium before bed? Not that
I'm scared to because I don't want to ever sleep.
That is so yes, exactly.
I'm not kidding.
So it doesn't knock me out. I don't go deep. It just creates less stress and anxiety when I'm sleeping.
I am going to say, Brittany, so she got me on the magnesium and it does relax me enough where I'm not having those freak out moments. It is not like a NyQuil thing. It's going to knock you out, the drogginess or whatnot. It just gives you a soothe to you. And you're in bed and you're okay, I'm tired. Okay, I can go to sleep now. And so it actually gives you, I don't know, it's like a permission button.
I like that. It's a permission button. It really is a de-stressor.
Magnesium.
That's why I don't
these gummies or am I taking a tea?
There is a powder. It's Calm.
Put me on.
They have gummies. I'll send you the link. I love it. I'm ridiculous.
Put me on.
Sponsor us. I don't know.
Honestly.
I love the powder.
We can get this whole episode sponsored. We'll do a follow-up and I'll let you know if I oversleep.
This is a case study right now. We are all
go ahead and shout the brand out.
And I think the flavor is
it's water. I get the watermelon flavor.
Yeah, so and so if you obviously you like watermelon because of your brand. Yeah. So you would, I'm sure,
and I make it a warm drink, and I think that's part of my evening ritual is I make my magnesium, and then my brain says it's time to go to sleep, girl. Turn it off. Yeah. You're done. Amazing.
It's like sundown time.
Make the magnesium, phone on the thing, 7, journal, sleep. All right.
Do not disturb. Do not disturb.
Do not disturb.
Nobody.
Yeah, my do not disturb doesn't kick till 10.
Honey, she lives on do not disturb.
I keep it on do not disturb all the time.
I will be in the middle of texting her, and all of a sudden it'll say, "Mandy has do not." I'm like, well, dang, I was responding.
I have a theory. It's I don't want to be controlled by my phone. I'm not going to be controlled by this little tiny device. It's not a tyrant. It's not a dictator. Yeah. I'm in control, so I'll look at my messages when I feel like it.
Mandy, I need to adopt some of your brain.
I know. This is why I'm you're staying in my circle forever. Forever.
I'm getting one of these right now, just through the way you talk. It's just
a little brain massage. I'm a self-care queen. I'm I have got to be in this existence and body for another 50 years. It is no way I'm going to be in turmoil for 50 years.
Teach me the way.
I'll have a mentee B. I'll be in grippy socks. It'll be over. I won't be able to do it. I just couldn't do it if I didn't give myself some love.
I'm learning. I'm fire.
I think we're all slowly piecing it together. I'm gonna send you.
I think it's funny because at 32, I'm were the 32-year-olds feeling like this when they were 32 when I was a kid? Because I don't think so.
Right.
I just really want to know. How was y'all doing at 32? Because
I don't feel like we saw it. Right?
No, I don't think at all.
It didn't look like it. Did you all just hide it really well and mask
32-year-olds when I had to, because 32-year-olds when I was in let's say middle school, high school. So I can recognize what's going on. They was, moms and dads and doing the work life
But
and
I
taking
mean,
care of the
now let
kitties
me
and
say
good
this.
at it.
Yes, but the thing is, and this is just from my side, I don't feel as though when I was younger, I saw as many entrepreneurs and like young
No,
entrepreneurs,
ma'am.
people
No,
who were
ma'am.
like
Not
go
at all.
getters. Like I did see, yeah, like behind the desk, like, oh, gotta go to work, like grab my coffee, run out the door. Like I saw that and they made that look easy. But I don't know if how many people
Right.
I saw who was like, no, I'm going to jump off this cliff, no parachute behind me. I'm going to go for it. Like things like that. And so I think that that's like our generation and, and more to
Mm-hmm.
come. We're setting ourselves apart from those individuals to be able to make something
That's
like
very true.
new.
That is true.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
1000%.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like we're in the era of, we're definitely in the be your own boss era where people are
Yes,
learning a lot of the things that are learning and unlearning a lot of the things that we thought were essentially Bible when we were younger, like go to college, get the degree, get the job. A lot of
exactly.
us are being way makers like yourselves and doing things on your own that, like, moms when we were kids weren't starting podcasts; they were going to tea or doing something like that. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
They were
So
on the
like, it's a lot
PTO and they
different
were
than
cooking and cleaning and that was
a
it, right?
PTO, that
Yep.
part. And I think it's really cool now because you just kind of like watch time do its thing and you see where people are, like, mentally at certain stages of life and like what they were doing when we were younger. It's like, okay, you know, it's different time and the times allow it to be that way. And it's okay for us not to be in that situation because young me was like, oh my God, 25, graduate, get married, have kids. And I'm like 32. I'm like, wait, what?
Never mind. Remix.
What? I couldn't imagine a child at 25 right now. I'm like, I didn't know myself at 25, much less
Right.
bringing a child into this world that knew who they were. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I think about things like that based on like how a lot of generations of people before us were very much like, this is how you have to be. And if you weren't like that, you were the outlier. Versus
Yep.
now, everybody's kind of like becoming more of themselves. Like even some of the older people in the society now are becoming more of themselves too and finding who they are because they're finally like comfortable to do that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot about the next generation and like how our people are raising them and what we can do to make them better than we are. And I feel like the generations before us have essentially put that into us, but we kind of took our way and said, all right, grab it by the
Yeah.
tail and just go.
And I think it's really focusing on and highlighting the piece of like your timeline doesn't have to look like everybody else's. Because like you were
Yeah.
saying, it was what we were taught of like, this is what you're supposed to do. Then you're supposed to go to college. Then you're supposed to, get married, have kids and like work your 9 to 5 and that's it. And it's like, but that's so boring, like I want to be more and I want to highlight how I can be more. And like, I want to bring people
Right.
with me to be more. And so it's nice to also find those
That part.
people. Yes. It's nice to find those people who are like, okay, like I want to come with you. And like, what can I do? Just because it creates such a community
Yeah.
of like empowering people and like going after and getting it.
I love that.
Absolutely. My brother, one of my favorite things that he's ever said to me is a rising tide raises all ships. And so the premise behind, we always, like, I say this every day to anyone, we rise by lifting others. And I think the more we uplift other people, we all rise together. And so I feel like where we are right now, especially as a society, people are more apt to do that. I wouldn't say everybody is, but it's nice to be around people that are in different communities that are like, I want to see you win. I want to help you win. I want us to win together. Like that is very much like I don't know, a great place to be in, I think, as a society as we continue to grow.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
It's beautiful and it's incredible. So we could just sit here and chat all night. But I need you to turn your phone off. And if we chat all night, you're never turning your phone off and getting rest. One last couple
Probably
questions
not.
that we always want to end here with is what makes you feel empowered is our big one.
Okay. Something that makes me feel empowered is watching other people succeed. And it sounds crazy because people think, a question like that is very self-reflecting. But realistically, when I see people around me elevating and doing better, I feel like that means I'm doing something right by helping them or being a part of something that I can do to see them win. So it's a little less just, like I said, it's not about me, it's about we.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful.
I love
That's
it.
amazing. Where can our followers, listeners, where can they find you? Where can they find Brittany? And then where can they find Go Brazy?
Okay. They can find me at Brittany MSC on Instagram, Twitter or X, TikTok, Facebook. Here, do that too. And then Go Brazy, it's at Go Brazy on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And if you want to follow my performance page, you can follow that one too. Perform X by Brit.
We love that.
Where can people buy your products? Like where is it located? Where is it at? How do we get these products in their hands?
So we are shipping nationwide at gobrazy.com. If you lock in and put your email in, you get a 10% off your first case. You can use that towards a 12-pack, or you can do a sample 4-pack. And then eventually our sample 4-packs will have other flavors in them, hopefully coming soon. But then locally in Charlotte, you can head up Project Lean Nation in South End, go see Brantley. You can buy singles and you can buy cases there too. Dream Yoga Wellness in Indian Land, South Carolina. Prolific Bodywork in Still Creek. And we've got a couple more places coming on the rise, so stay tuned for those.
Wow. That is so amazing to hear, like when you're dropping local names, and I'm like, oh, I could literally get in my car, go drive, and go buy Go Brazy. That is so cool.
One place you mentioned is like a skip, hop, and a jump from me, so I'll be going there.